What's going on, everyone? So welcome to another ranking list. This is of course a series of reviews that I've been doing where I choose a director, rank their movies from worst to best, and of course this is just the theatrical or streaming movies. It's not including any short movies, music videos, or TV shows. So yeah, you clicked on this video. Listen, Robert Zemeckis is a director that I feel like everyone loves, and so I decided to watch all his movies and see how I feel about him. So I'll give you guys my thoughts on Robert Zemeckis at the end of this video, but for now, he's done 19 movies, so I'm going to rank him from worst to best, 19 being his worst, 1 being his best. So, with all the exposition aside, let's get started. So, some of these I'm going to go real quick, others I might go a little bit more into an explanation, so keep that in mind. Number 19 is Welcome to Marwen, which is actually his latest movie, and it's an Oscar bait movie. That's all there really is to say about this movie. It's an Oscar bait movie that just is really manipulative, and it wastes Steve Carell, among other actors and actresses in the movie. So yeah, that's why it's my number 19. Number 18 is Robert Zemeckis trying to be all Hitchcockian, and that's What Lies Beneath. I was very excited to watch What Lies Beneath finally. It's a movie that feels very different from all of his other movies, for sure, and I give him props for doing that. But at the same time, all of his Hitchcockian references feels kind of tacked on, and at the same time, I feel like it's not even a good homage. I feel like there's so much that he does in the movie that just, in my opinion, misses the mark a bit. And at the same time, you waste a great actor and actress in Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer. So, I don't know. That's why it's, on the lesser end of this list. So that's my number 18. My number 17 is Death Becomes Her, which a lot of people love. I personally wasn't a fan of. I was actually disappointed by it. Having heard a lot of good things and actually seeing it, I just didn't really think the filmmaking and entertainment value was there for me. But yeah, not much else to say about it than that. So that's my number 17. My number 16 is Romancing the Stone, which Romancing the Stone is through and throughout a Indiana Jones knockoff. And if you are fine with knockoffs, you'll like this movie. If you're not, then you're probably not going to enjoy this movie. I was more in the middle, honestly. I kind of just felt like watching Indiana Jones, but I was like, well, it's not going to fix the whole, ranking list of Robert Zemeckis, because you got to watch all his movies. And, yeah, so I sat through it, and I just felt very dull, and I just wanted to put Indiana Jones in. And I didn't, but I probably should. Now that I'm actually saying all this out loud, I probably should have. But, yeah, that's my number 16. Sorry, guys. Number 15 is I Want to Hold Your Hand, which, again, kind of like Death Becomes Her, I heard so many things about I Want to Hold Your Hand. And I get it. I get why people like it. I just personally think that there were things in it that just kind of made me shake my head and say, wow, that really hasn't aged well. Or just kind of be like, oh my goodness, why didn't this person do this? Just some frustrating things that characters do in this movie, I felt like. But the entertainment value is there. I get it why the average person would watch this movie and say, wow, that was good, that was good. But for me, didn't think it was good. But again, I still respect with, people liking this movie. That's my number 15. Number 14 is Back to the Future. Part 3. I've only seen this movie once, and I was like 16, 17, and as a 16, 17-year-old, I didn't like Part 3 of Back to the Future. I thought that it wasn't really that satisfying. I thought it did some things that kind of annoyed me. I don't know if those things would annoy me necessarily now if I were to watch it, but with that viewing experience, watching it, it did frustrate me, and that's why I just haven't rewatched it. I've rewatched the other 2 entries many times, but Part 3 I've never gone back to. Maybe that's my number 14. My number 13 is Robert Zemeckis' first movie, which is Used Cars. I thought this movie was okay. But that being said, I really liked how watching this movie, especially because this was my last movie of his that I saw, it's really interesting watching this movie because you see all the Zemeckis kind of, esque things in that movie that he ended up crafting to a better version in other movies. I felt like Used Cars, a lot of his great movies, you can see elements in that first movie of Used Cars, and I like that. But at the same time, it is his first movie, and I do think that it's not the best, film. So that's my number 13. My number 12. My number 12. How do I explain this? This might be when I actually start talking a little bit, about this. So my number 12 is Beowulf. Now hear me out, because I know a lot of people with these motion capture movies that Zemeckis did, a lot of people are like, oh, they haven't aged well. See, the thing is, I found them enjoyable. When I saw his motion capture movies, I actually thought that they were entertaining with what they were going about. Have they aged well? I don't know, because I haven't actually seen them since I was a teenager. But watching them as a teenager, I enjoyed them. And especially Beowulf. I think Beowulf is really interesting in the fact that it's like adult-oriented. Like, it easily would have been R-rated if it was not motion capture, but because it was motion capture, they were able to do a PG-13 animated movie that's like really gory. And I give them props for doing that. I wish it had done better at the box office. I love the cast. I love the score for the movie. I do want to rewatch it. It's still a middle-of-the-road movie, though, because, again, it does have its fair share of issues. Pacing is definitely an issue, but it's still a movie that if someone were to say that they really liked it, I would say I get that, because I actually have enjoyment with it. And the counterproductive thing, if someone said that they hate the movie, I get it, because, again, I do have issues, but I see both sides in terms of this movie. And I know it's a recurring theme with Zemeckis' movies, and it's going to be interesting to talk about him as a director at the very end. But that's my number 12. My number 11, speaking of adult-oriented, my number 11 is Flight. So Flight stars Denzel Washington, and the thing is, Denzel Washington gives it his all. I think Denzel Washington is really good in the movie. It has a really tense, crash sequence. But the fact of the matter is, I felt like the way they handled everything just felt kind of Oscar baity and manipulative. And that's where Zemeckis, I think, really falls flat. When he's trying to be Oscar baity, I feel like that's when I personally don't really enjoy his movies, because it's so painfully obvious for me personally. And I feel like Flight's definitely an example of that. But it has its entertaining moments for sure. It does do a pretty good job of depicting alcoholism, I think, personally. But it's not a movie that I wholesomely am able to embrace and say it's a good movie. It's a middle-of-the-road movie, slightly above average, I'd say. So that's my number 11. Now we're getting into the top 10. So my number 10 is Allied, which I, for some reason, missed in theaters in 2016. Having finally seen it a couple months ago, I think it's a movie that definitely takes from like The English Patient and Casablanca, but I think that there are elements that really work. For one, I really like the cinematography. It looks like something almost out of like a video game, the way that they really color graded it, but I like that. I feel like that's his style, and I think it really does fit. I really like the score, the costume design. It's just overall a very beautiful movie. I do think that there are some shortcomings in terms of narratively speaking, but I think you can look past that given the talent involved, and also this is Zemeckis, later on in his career. Like, he is maturing a little bit as a director, and I feel like this movie is definitely one of those examples. So that's why it's my number 10. My number 9 is my number 9 is a movie I've only seen once, and it's Forrest Gump. I'm not the biggest fan of Forrest Gump. I personally think that it's very manipulative. I think that's way too sentimental for its own good. It doesn't earn that ending. The ending itself, I think, is just kind of like, you've got to be kidding me. And there's just so many elements of it that just don't work and haven't aged well at all. Even when I saw this movie, what was it, 7, 8 years ago, I didn't think it aged well. I haven't decided to rewatch this movie. There are a lot of movies I saw as a 16, 17-year-old that I rewatched, and I was like, yeah, that was better than I remember. But Forrest Gump was never one of those movies where I was like, I'm going to rewatch that. I don't know. It's a movie that I respect it with, its visual effects. I respect the score, the way it's shot, the acting. But other than that, there's just a lot of things that I just can't look past, especially as I've gotten older. But that's just my viewpoint. I understand that there's a lot of love for Forrest Gump even today, but, it's the Green Book of the 1990s, pretty much. So that's my number 9. Number 8 is The Polar Express, which I found to be very entertaining. It's, again, motion capture. I think it's an easy breezy movie. It goes by fast. It's visually, stimulating, I'd say. I think that when I saw it a couple years ago, I really liked the visual effects. I liked the score. Alan Silvestri, I forgot to mention, works a lot with Robert Zemeckis, and I think his score is really, really good in this movie. What can I say? There's not much other than that. It's definitely a style over substance movie, but definitely one of the better ones, especially from Zemeckis' filmography. So that's, my number 8. Number 7 is A Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol is much like other adaptations of the story. It does its own little tweak And this time it's motion capture. And I think the tweak really does add a lot because I really liked how much the camera moves. The camera moves a lot in this movie. And I think it really does make for an energetic experience. Like, this is a movie you watch and you're not like, this is boring. It's a movie you watch and you say, this is captivating. This is something that I can see a vision. And I liked that. I liked that about this movie, that you actually can see a director's vision and not something that feels like a studio-friendly movie. So that's why it's my number 7. Number 6 is a movie that a lot of people love. I thought it was solid, and it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Again, just like Forrest Gump, I think visually it's very entertaining. I respect it too. Great visual effects. Acting is fun. It was ahead of its time. But at the same time, I really do feel like a lot is lacking in the movie. Like, I do kind of wish that the story and characters were a little bit better, And that's the thing with this movie. You watch this movie and you say to yourself, this is impressive. This is impressive to look at, but narratively, it's not really doing much. And I don't know. It's solid. We'll leave it at that. So that's obviously number 6. Number 5 is Contact. Now, Contact is a movie that I really do respect. I've only seen it once, but I actually want to rewatch it because I've heard Contact inspired a lot of Interstellar. It was itself inspired by 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I love 2001: A Space Odyssey. So I do want to rewatch Contact, and I have heard that there are 1 or 2 scenes that are really good usage of camera work. I don't remember. I haven't seen this movie in 6-7 years, so I don't remember. But I do want to rewatch it because I remember it being interesting, albeit slightly sentimental to a fault. So that's my number 5. Number 4 is a movie that a lot of people are going to be surprised I have this high up, but I've seen it a couple times, and if you haven't noticed, all these other movies that I've ranked, I've seen them once. That's it. But my number 4 is The Walk, which I've seen several times. I really like The Walk. I think that it's a very visually appealing movie. It's got an engaging story, engaging characters. It's very fast-paced. It feels like a PG version of The Wolf of Wall Street in terms of pacing, and I really respect that. But again, it's a shame because it didn't do well at the box office. Nobody saw this movie. I remember seeing it in IMAX, and there being 3 other people, 2 of which were my friends. So it's just kind of crazy, honestly, that nobody really wanted to see this movie. Because I do think it's a good movie. I think it's very underrated. So that's my number 4. Number 3 is Castaway. Yep, this is the movie where Tom Hanks is on an island and he kills it. He has an incredible performance. I do think it stinks that the entire movie was spoiled in the trailer. Again, I'm not faulting the movie. That's not the movie's fault. That's literally the marketing department's fault. But I will say that having seen the trailer before the movie, I was kind of disappointed at the fact that it was kind of spoiled with how it ends. But I will say this. It didn't really ruin overall the effect because I still think that the movie was interesting with what it was depicting. And again, the lead performance really does go a long way. Tom Hanks did a great job in the lead role. And it is a good survival tale. I think that it is very emotional with what he goes through. And it's very experimental too. There's not really a score, which I feel is so rare in movies today. So it's interesting. Very interesting. So yeah, that's my number 3. Now, my number 2 and my number 1, you guys have probably guessed by now what they are. My number 2 is Back to the Future Part 2. Like I said, Back to the Future Part 2, I know a lot of people that aren't the biggest fans of it in my close circle, but I personally really dug it. I think it's a movie that's very different from the first, enough to the fact that it was able to do its own thing, but not to the point of where it was disrespectful to the original. I think it's a good sequel, and at the same time, it definitely got me excited for, the third one. But that's the thing, watching the second one, rewatching many times, it's kind of one of those situations where you want to see the third entry, but I just have always, put it off because, again, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. So, but Part 2 I do like. I definitely feel like I'm in the minority with that, but I liked it. I think it's a very fun movie. My number 1 is a movie, you've probably already guessed what it is, and my number 1 is Back to the Future. Some claim it to be a masterpiece. I think that it's a near masterpiece. I haven't quite given it that 5 to 5-star rating. I've always teetered between 4.5, 4.75, but it's his best movie by far. It's the movie I've seen many times. It's a movie that I think visually it still holds up, and then the rewatchability value is so there. I know I said I watched it multiple times, but there's a difference between watching something multiple times and the movie actually having a rewatchability factor. And I think this movie definitely has that factor to it, because there's just so many little things, little details to this movie that when you watch it again and again, you pick up on those details and you're like, oh, wow. Literally, the opening scene of the movie says everything you need to know with what's going to happen in the movie. And I think that's so interesting, because the first time you don't think about that. You just think it's opening credits. So, I don't know. I love this movie. I love Back to the Future, and that's why it's my number one. So now my favorite part, talking about the director. Robert Zemeckis, I think, is a director that visually he always is experimental. I think he loves playing with his toys. Like visual effects wise, he loves playing with his toys. He loves, messing around with motion capture. Like he had a period of time where he did that. He had a period of time where he was messing with like CGI in the 90s, and then in the 80s he was messing around with like practical effects. And I think it's just really interesting that he's like one of those directors that loves playing with his toys, but he's a director that is also very frustrating, because I feel like most of his movies I personally was not a big fan of, or I felt middle of the road-esque to them. And that is very unfortunate, because he's a director that I think he has a grasp on how to shoot movies and how to be visually stimulating with them. But in terms of like story, characters, stuff like that, I really do feel like there's a lot to be desired. Some would argue that, he has a lot of memorable characters, like with Forrest Gump. I get it, like, Forrest Gump's name's cool and all, but in terms of, like, characters that really are, like, whoa, that's really interesting. Like, they're so, like, gray, not really. I really do feel like the Back to the Future 1 and 2 are really, like, peak Zemeckis, because they are movies that have great storytelling to match his great visual effects-driven storytelling method. It's really amazing, I think, when he's put with the right material. But unfortunately, I feel like a lot of times he was with the wrong material. Is he a bad director? No, I'd be lying if I said he's a bad director. But he's a director that when I see his name, I say to myself, I'm going to see it. But at the same time, I'm kind of nervous about it, because I don't know if it's going to be good or not, honestly. It's kind of like Guy Ritchie or J.J. Abrams. It's like, you know their names, you've seen all their movies, but you always are going to have in the back of your mind, is this actually going to be good or is it not? It's no Wes Anderson movie or like David Fincher movie where it's like when you hear that they're directing a movie, you're like, it's going to be great probably. It's probably going to be great. With Zemeckis, it's like, maybe flip a coin, there's your answer. But yeah, that's just my opinion on Robert Zemeckis. I know a lot of people that love Zemeckis, so it should be interesting to see in the comment section. But again, it's just my opinion. I'm excited to hear your guys, and yeah, stay tuned, guys. I'll be doing other ranking lists. I have some more on the pipeline, but stay tuned for that. And yeah, if you have any further questions, comment section down below, and also don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.